Hey there, friends. Doc South, and a true tale from the past. Yes, gosh, in fact, going back pretty far now, you get right down to it. Mid '60s. Yes, the mid '60s. This might have happened 65, 66, something like that. Maybe even a little later than that. It happened in the town of Netcong, New Jersey. If you have your maps handy, Netcong is a relatively small town, medium sized town, at the intersections of Route 46 and Route 206. It's kind of near Route 80. At one time, I believe the Morris Canal used to go through the town. Yep, yep. In fact, Lake Musconetcong, I think, was I think a feeder for the canal. I'm pretty sure it was. Again, I might be wrong, but I believe that's the case. If the canal was low on water, I guess they opened a bit of they let some of the water from Lake Musconetcong go into the canal, I guess, as near as I could tell. Not exactly sure on that. But what I saw was a really great case, in fact, perhaps the best case I've ever seen of the tables being turned immediately and without mercy. There was, I was sitting along, I was in my car, sitting, I guess, on the side of the road. I must have been waiting to meet someone or whatever, but I was just sitting in my car, looking around, at okay, what's playing at the movies. Oh gosh, that gas station, what he's asking, what's he getting for gas? Oh gosh, boy, expensive. $3 for 3 gallons. Whoa, man, that's too much. Stuff like that. And there was this the road. I think that there was a side road right there in the middle of Netcong that went along the south shore of Lake Musconetcong. I believe it went to the town of I can't think of it now. It doesn't matter necessarily, but it heads off east along the south side of the river. Okay, don't know the name of the road, I'm afraid. But there was this little soda shop, kind of like a malt shop. Like back in the 50s, there were actually these places where you could go, maybe bring your girlfriend, you sit at the counter, and they'd make you an ice cream sundae. They sold newspapers, magazines, cigarettes, things like that. Yeah, it was just sort of like a little sundry store. It was kind of, if you were a teenager, it was kind of a hangout. And indeed, it was this particular day. Okay, there were some greasers out front, 3 or 4 of them. I don't know exactly how many, but I'd say three anyway. Let's say three. And I don't know, hey, oh baby, how are you? And they got they got like their motorcycle hats on, leather jackets, dungarees. They had their pants rolled up a bit. You could see their socks, and I don't know, they had like engineer boots on. They were tough guys. They sure were. And they're if a kid walks by, they weren't really evil, but hey kid, what are you doing? Hey, come on, I'm standing here. They kind of I doubt they'd really hurt anyone, but they were they were horsing around, and that you could see they had their jalopy cars were parked off to one side. Maybe they had a half painted Hudson that they'd ride around in, screaming at the girls. And they were just taking a break, maybe getting they might have even had a soda in their hand. I don't know, but they're hanging out on the sidewalk, giving everybody the razz, so to speak. And this guy pulls up, he pulls up in I think probably an early '60s Triumph, which was a sports car, little tiny car. They were kind of sporty to drive around in. Some of them were fairly fast, some weren't, but they were fun to drive around in, and they were kind of more of a preppy kind of thing. This would be something you drive if you went to a fraternity, Well, these guys, the greasers, are probably lucky to get out of high school. Okay. they, they, they look like, yeah, they'd be back in the class, throwing spitballs most of the day. Yeah, they're expert spitballers. Knowing their English, maybe not. They knew enough. They knew, hey, yo. Yeah, that's what they knew. And this guy backs into a parking spot there. And these guys are leaning up against the cement wall, and they're looking at him. And he goes walking by, and they all three of them, all three of them just kind of watch him, as he's, hey, yo, what's with that car? Hey, you got a kitty car, this kind of thing. He doesn't pay him any attention. Which really made him sore. Yeah, these guys were sore now. And he goes in, he's going to go in and get a magazine. Yes, probably a Playboy. And they, and he's in there for a little bit. These guys are looking at his car, they're kind of laughing at it, kicking the tires a little. They weren't hurting it, but they were just, wow, my gosh, look at this, only 2 seats. All this, no back seat. What good is this car? That kind of thing. Okay. Well, they're back up against the wall again when the guy comes out. He's got his magazine. He's got a tee, that kind. And again, he's dressed like he's going to go play golf somewhere. Okay, so he and the greasers are not going to get along. They maybe even knew him from high school. Maybe. He graduated, maybe they didn't. So anyway, he gets into his car and he's starting it up, going through the process. And these guys, they give each other the elbow and they walk over to the car. This is their time to attack. And the 3 greasers take the bumper and they pick it up. They pick the car up off the pavement. The tires are off the pavement. And this is a rear-wheel drive car. So he's not going to go anywhere. It's not a front wheel like a lot of cars are nowadays. And they got it. They've lifted it up, showing everybody how strong they are. They can lift a Triumph. The whole car probably weighs 800 pounds, and the engine's up front. So they're not really. They're probably lifting 150 pounds each, which is still pretty good. But they got it up, and the guy looks at him and says, "Hey, put my car down. Hey, what are you doing? Gentlemen, please." And they're just laughing. He looks at him, and then he says, "Okay, if you guys want to lift the car, that's fine with me." What he does is, without even thinking, it was amazing how fast he thought on this. The driver of the sports car, he takes the car, he takes his gear shift, and he puts it in reverse, and he guns it. He guns the car. Now the wheels are turning top speed, but in reverse. Doesn't sound like much of a problem till you think about it a little. If these guys put the car down, they're going to get run over. They're never going to get out of the way. Those wheels are really humming. Yeah, and they're up against a cement wall. It was like a retainer wall. Yeah, made of concrete. And they got about 1 foot between them and the wall, and they got the car in their hands. What are they going to do? Well, the guy just lets them hang there. Yeah, he's got the thing running. There's exhaust coming out. Oh my gosh, big fumes of exhaust coming out of that Triumph, and he's just sitting there, la-di-da-da-da, reading his magazine, and these guys are it's starting to hurt. Yeah, it's starting to hurt. They're begging him. They said, "God, mister, come on, put it down. Shut off that engine, please." He says, "Will you never do this again?" "We promise. Oh, God, we promise." "Okay, yeah, what?" And he says, "Okay, gentlemen." And he stops the wheels. They put it down gently, and he drives off, tips his hat to them. And of course, they flipped him the bird. What little they could hardly move their hands, and the deal was done. I do not believe I've ever seen a better case of tables being turned. Yeah, it's funny. Those guys probably in later in life at the high school reunion, they probably laughed about it. Those three guys weren't laughing that day. I think the driver was, yes, the preppy, and those around who were annoyed by these three greasers thought it was a pretty cool thing to see. I got to admit, no one got hurt. Eh, live and learn. I thought it was pretty cool. Anyway, Harry, there you go. That's the story. And again, I got to say, it's one of my favorite turnabouts. Anyway, I'll see you later. Thank you, friends. God bless.